Right, I'm here for Wings TV with Chairman and Vice Chairman Paul White and Brett Smith. Paul, if I could take you back first of all to sort of 5-3 last Saturday at Thompson, obviously it must be a different experience just being there as a fan it is being there as a chairman.
Yeah, I think when you saw me, when people saw me, I was a nervous wreck. Couldn't sit still. Unlike Brett, I was very, very calm. But a different experience. I'm always fairly nervous before watching games. That was different. A bit more pressure to it, I think. But so before the game, I'll be happy with a point. Got a point, so I was happy.
Yeah, and obviously now we're back here at Parkview Road. The first home game of the season coming up on Saturday against Worthing. I mean, there's a lot for people to look at that we talked about, but there's a lot for them to see. First and foremost, before you even get in the ground, we've now finally got a covered terrace and some new fencing as well along the road end.
Yes, it's a lot tidier. As I said before, there was a vote in 1989 for a new roof, and we just thought we'd implement the vote. So, yeah, don't need it at the moment. Well, keep the sun off your heads, I suppose. But hopefully when it rains, we'll get bigger crowds because they're not too worried about getting wet. But yeah, looks all right. Looks nice. We're still going to get some sponsors on it, which we're working on. But we'll get there.
Yeah, and it's all about, I think, improving the match day experience. And with that in mind, obviously, hopefully when they first come in the ground, they'll see the club shops move up to the left-hand side there. Yeah. But also, Brett, there's been a lot of work done in regard to the programme this season.
Yeah, absolutely, Gavin. I think you were party to some of those early meetings over the summer. So we've got it's had a bit of an overhaul. It's fair to say. We want to make sure that we're giving value back to our partners and to our sponsors. We want to make sure that the fans are getting information, which I think has been called out in some of the social posts that I've seen over recent months and years. Really, is being kept up to date. So the programme now is going to have lots of different stakeholders from across the whole of the club feeding into that, so it becomes more informative. We can keep people abreast of what's happening across the club, from the pre-academy through to the youth academy, the scholarship teams, the new under-23s team, the women's team, the deaf team, all the way through to the senior teams at the club. So yeah, hopefully people will start to see a difference when they pick up the programme for the first time this weekend.
Yeah, I'd encourage people to look out for that. I know there's going to be programme sellers out and about around the ground, obviously where you come in, so I'd encourage people to buy it and give us their feedback. And obviously as well, what else has moved is on the right hand side as you come in now is the new food hut, which I think is a joint club and WUSA have put together to sort that out. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. So we've got the new catering unit which we've purchased, which was, as you say, jointly funded from WUSA and from an academy sponsor that we've got that have supported that. What that means, from a commercial perspective, is that we're not using a third party where we just make a small amount of margin and a percentage of the profits. It now means that we can make more profit for the club, and all those profits come back into supporting some of the initiatives and some of the improvements that you're seeing around the ground.
Can we just say that if supporters would kindly refrain from having breakfast and lunch, I think just come here because like Brett says, it's rather than earning peanuts, which we have done for the last few years by franchising it out to various people. Every penny in profit goes back into the club, which is very, very important, and it could be a decent little earner. So yeah, please come and eat at the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll endorse that as well, and I think the gates will be open about 12 o'clock, so people can come in and have their lunch.
Very good quality burgers as well. Very good quality. We've improved the quality of the food.
Thank you for that. And then obviously you move on towards the bars. There's the new marquee, which some people may have seen pictures of, or people who have been to the ground will have seen. And there's going to be screens up in there. But at the moment, I think there are some restrictions as to what we can or cannot do with that marquee.
Yeah, that's right, Gavin. So what we will have certainly for this weekend is the marquee will provide much needed shade. It will have tables and chairs in. We will have 3 screens in there that are connected with sound to provide football viewing of the BT Sport match at 12:30 before the game, and potentially Sky thereafter after the game, but that's to be confirmed over the next few days, which we'll obviously announce. But in terms of being able to serve alcohol from the marquee, we're still waiting on that, on some additional licensing from the council, which, having visited early this week, we're confident we'll have next week. So there's a good chance that by Tuesday we'll be able to open up the outside bars in addition to the inside bars.
Yeah, and obviously the inside bar set up. There's a downstairs and an upstairs, and I think some new cooler units have been installed. But there's a differential between the upstairs and the downstairs.
Yeah,
bars.
yeah. I mean, the idea for the upstairs, once we get the marquee and the outside bar operational, the upstairs will become hospitality. I mean, on Saturday it'll be open to sponsors, to guests, and to season ticket holders, as before. But going forward, it'll probably be a little bit more exclusive. But downstairs, as always, will be the same. So just bear with us on Saturday, because we're going to have the same number of bars to serve from. But the idea is to open up more serving points to sort of stop the problems we've had in the past. And like Brett says, by the next Saturday game, we'll be in a position to serve you a lot faster. And we're going to go into the 21st century.
Yeah. So we certainly within the next few weeks as well, we'll have the app launched. So the app will allow supporters to pre-order their drinks from a collection point. We'll probably do that out of the marquee to start with. We'll start slow and then we'll build that up. But there's no reason that won't work. It works at other clubs. We've seen it. We've probably all experienced it. But as Paul said, it's about moving with the times, providing value and providing a better service.
Yeah, and as you say, you can actually still walk through that through the marquee and get access towards the park end of the ground. And people will then see there's obviously a new water tanks and a new irrigation system, which is making a massive difference.
Without them, we'd have been in trouble. I mean, we would have been in big trouble. Would have been watering it 24 hours a day. People would have been walking around. Gary Fiore, he helped us get it off the ground with the newer system, and it's, we can see from the pitch, apart from where the Foxes have been at it, it's pretty good. It's as good as it's been in many years, in my opinion. So that's been a bit of a godsend with this weather.
And whilst I've said obviously there is access behind that stand up to the two standing areas on each side of the ground, some new fencing as well, it's got to be pointed out that for the time being at least, the parking terrace is out of action.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, I think anyone who's stood there in the last year or two known it's not been in great shape. It's not going to get any better. It's getting worse. The dry weather's obviously drying the ground out. The trees are probably sucking up any moisture. There's a bit more subsidence. The council, and rightly so, I've said enough's enough with that stand. So hopefully, well, definitely within a few weeks it will be demolished. Demolition will start. We'll flatten it, and then hopefully by Christmas we'll have some kind of temporary replacement, which obviously will once things move on in a year or so. But that'll pitch moves back, like I've said before, and we'll do a more permanent terrace behind the goal. But we'll have something there by the new year, all being well. For now, the two terraces at either side will have to suffice. So we're doing it. There's not a lot we can do about it. We inherited a dilapidated bit of concrete, and all we can do is take it down and make it safer.
Well, as long as it's fixed for Man United at home in the third round of the cup in the first week in January, that'll be good. And obviously we're looking for our first home game on Saturday against Worthing. We're looking for a big turnout. I know there's going to be a big turnout from the academy, and Brett, you can tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so we've all of the academy players that have signed or in the process of signing, because obviously their season doesn't start till September. They start to come back training in just over a week and a half's time. But all of the academy players are being provided lanyards and membership badges as being part of the club, and we're really encouraging coaches, managers, players from across the academy at any age to come down and support the first team and be a link, and at some point in the future we'll maybe have their own area and their own bar area, but we just want them to feel part of the club, and I think that's really important. And we've seen that over the last few months with the engagement and the support and the work that we've been doing. And there's been a lot of coaches and managers down here just volunteering to help us, as you know, Gavin, when we've had to have the call to arms to people to help us fill huge skips. There's been a lot of volunteers to help with that.
Yeah, and further to that, Paul, I believe obviously there's work already going on in the community. Obviously the schools are out at the moment, but there's more work to be done there.
Yep.
And whilst we're obviously very keen to have our loyal fan base back, we probably missed maybe one, possibly two generations of supporters, and we want to get them back. Working
very, very hard to get them back. I say I've been myself, Gary Lehman. Obviously the academy have got an initiative with the junior schools. We've sort of targeted the secondary schools. We've given them a limited number of tickets for each school to pass on to keen supporters who might be keen to come and see us, or kids who have done, who have achieved quite well in the year as a reward. So yeah, but going forward in September we're doing a lot more of that. That's the idea to going forward, just to get that next generation that we have, like I said, we missed out on.
Yeah, I mean we're delighted to have obtained a grant from the National League Trust already for the start of the season. So in September it's called the Wings Wellness Programme. So we're going to be working with 6 local primary schools through our community manager, officer and coaches, and they're going to go in and deliver sport-related exercise. It's not all football-based, it's sport-based, it's exercise-based, and it's the education that goes along with that in terms of good eating habits, times of day when you eat, why exercise is important, not least from a physical perspective, but from a mental perspective, which we know is massive. So yeah, really delighted with that, and those schools, you started to see more of that again. But going back to the programme, Gavin, you start to see what we're delivering, and those schools will also be invited down to match days. And then the feedback from that programme will hopefully allow us to then go and broaden that and go back to the National League Trust and ask them for a second grant to deliver that further on into the season.
Yeah, and to sort of sum up, obviously it's great what we're doing. There's certainly a buzz about the place. Everybody's pulling in the same direction. There's a new team at the top. The supporters I know are excited. And so, what's the sort of final message to people out there to try and get them to come down to part of the road?
Just backers. I mean, we've clearly shown what we're about, what we're trying to do. We just want people to come through the gates. We just want. I mean, I've said all along, I want to try and get 1,000 people here for every home game on average, and I don't think that's a big ask. Given the right, giving them a decent watching experience. Obviously, performance on the pitch are going to help that. But I think what we're doing, just bring your kids, bring your wives or family, friends. Just drag them on to come and see us, and then just get our bodies in there. But let's just make it a day out.
I think it's all about the match day experience. That's what we talked about today. Obviously, we've put money into the budget, or you have, as products on the pitch. I'm sure is going to be better. The product off the pitch we talked about is definitely going to be better. So we want the whole community, and the ground's well placed. There's lots of World Cup support here, and hopefully the more the merrier will come out during the season.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin.
Cheers.